So the Mexico Ciudad Juarez mission was formed in 2013. It used to be part of the Mexico Chihuahua mission, which was the whole state of Chihuahua. But now our mission is just the northern portion of Chihuahua. It touches the border with El Paso, Texas, and some of New Mexico. You could split my mission pretty well into two parts. You're either in the city in Ciudad Juarez, or you're near the Mormon colonies in this area called Casas Grandes. And honestly, when we would get transferred between anywhere in Ciudad Juarez and anywhere in Casas Grandes, we'd kind of sometimes feel like we were changing missions because the culture is very different in those demographically different areas. I spent 9 months in Casas Grandes and 9 months in Ciudad Juarez, so I got a good taste of both. Pretty much everyone is Catholic, which is pretty typical of any mission in Mexico. But we also would get people from different Christian denominations that we'd teach. I taught a Jewish person once, which was super interesting, but mostly everyone's Catholic. And our most effective way of finding people was usually street contacting. We did not knock doors. We weren't supposed to, unless we got the direct inspiration and revelation that we needed to knock a specific door. We never did that. So you just talk to everyone that you run into on the street. If you're on a bus, you talk to the person sitting next to you. You do anything you can to meet anyone and try and invite them. In the areas I was in Ciudad Juarez, I was in a lot of the more wealthy areas that had like a lot of gated communities that we weren't allowed into without an appointment. And mainly they had people driving cars, not really walking in the streets. So we had to get pretty creative with how we found people to teach. The members were really helpful in giving us referrals. We just needed to have a good relationship with them in order to find investigators. They'd help a lot. One thing we did that was maybe weird, but it was really fun, and it probably only makes sense in Mexico, is that we got these posters that had the questions of the soul from Preach My Gospel on them, and we stood at an intersection as a district, and we'd hold up the posters, and then when the light would turn red, we'd run out in between the cars and knock on their car windows, and they'd roll down their window, and we'd say, "Have you ever asked one of these questions before?" And they'd say, "Well, yeah, like, what is the purpose of this life?" And we'd say, "We have a book that answers your question, and we'd love to bring one by your house. If we could get your information, we'll come by another day and bring you the answer to this question that you've had." And we got to pass a lot of referrals along to other missionaries that way. So that was an interesting, maybe weird way that we found people. In Casas Grandes, it's a way slower pace of life than in the city. It's slow. There's not a lot of cars passing. There's like more dirt roads, a lot of dust, which is fun. The people were more humble in certain ways in Casas Grandes, and they just didn't live as fast-paced of a life. And it's interesting there because they have two Mormon colonies, Colonia Juarez and Colonia Dublan, and there's a temple in Colonia Juarez. And so most people know Mormons, and there are a lot of members. There are a lot of inactive members, but really everyone knows a Mormon or has a family member who's Mormon. There's also a temple in Ciudad Juarez, so there are two temples in our mission. Almost everyone is within less than an hour of a temple. My mission has 7 stakes. There's 2 in Casas Grandes and 5 in Ciudad Juarez. So there's a lot of members, but there are a lot of less active members. Something that we found to be successful was seeking out less active families because a lot of them were part-member families, and we were able to find people in their families to teach while trying to help them come back to church. Especially by the colonies. That was the way that we'd work a lot. But for the most part, all of the active members help out a lot. And so the best thing to do is to become very close with the members and work together. And yep. I went to the MTC in June of 2015, and I came home in December of 2016. I served in 4 different wards in Ciudad Juarez and in 1 ward in Casas Grandes, and I was in each of those places for 9 months, in each of those cities. My 4 wards in Ciudad Juarez, I was in 1 for 4 weeks, 1 for 5 weeks, 1 for 6 weeks, and 1 for 5 months. And in Casas Grandes, I was in 1 ward for 9 months.